So when I think back to my very first reenactment, I remember being very, very nervous, very unsure of what I was doing, and it was sort of paralyzing in a way, because you're out there, you're on the field, and you look at all of these people who've been doing this for years, and they've mastered everything, and it's very intimidating to look at, when they've got all of the drill just down to a pat.
They're very snappy
and
about everything.
Yes, and you're over there and you're just trying very hard to memorize everything, and you're
hoping that you wind up in the same spot as everyone else.
Yeah, and it can be, like I said, it can be a very intimidating thing to have to deal with. So, the question I had for you is how do you deal with overcoming that?
Aha. It's a very, very difficult process to do. I mean, I do remember my first event. I was exceptionally awkward. First off, all of the clothing wasn't really fitting me just perfect because I hadn't yet really learned how it's actually worn. Like, how high up do the breeches go? How tight should everything be buttoned and cinched and everything? I actually had to call up another guy in the hobby who was going to be like my guide for the first ever events way back when in the 23rd, and ask, which way did the breeches go on? Because I had a feeling that the buttons would go on in front, but I wanted to make certain, that sort of thing. I wasn't wearing my hat right. The bearskin was way too far back, and all these different little itty-bitty concerns. I felt very uncomfortable and everything. But basically, a good way to look at it is, as soon as I met up with the group and everything, they adjusted me. They changed everything. It's all right. That's how it's all worn, and it still felt kind of off. It felt weird. It feels very uncomfortable when you first go out to these events because everything it's a very different kind of clothing than what we're used to wearing in our daily lives. You have to learn how to do it, so to say. You have to get used to it. Honestly, one of the biggest things is just going out to a certain number of events, and over time, you do just get used to everything a lot more.
Yeah.
As far as, the paranoia about your drill not being snappy enough, as far as feeling like you're lagging behind, et cetera, well, everyone has been there. Literally everyone had their first event at some point, and honestly, some of those older timers who have been doing it for years and years and years, and as such are very good now, odds are they were worse than you are now back in the day, because today, of course, we have, a lot more technology to spread around the info on how you do things. Back then, the research wasn't necessarily as widespread.
Yeah.
Things were a lot more disparate from group to group.
It's all on here.
Exactly. So the most important thing as far as the drill is concerned is make sure that you wind up in the same spot as everyone else. It's what Steve, our peerless leader, is always saying is, he doesn't care how you get there, just get there. With a few extra words taken out for convenience sake. But, at your first event, you will feel awkward. That's inherent, that's natural, because it's a new hobby, it's a really weird hobby, and there's an awful lot to learn, but that's okay. You get over that, you get used to that. It's all in the experience, it's all in just the time. The most important thing is that you are passionate about the history, that you want to learn, and you want to teach. And if you have those, you will become a very good reenactor after, a couple of events. I guarantee you that much.
Yeah, it really is just a question of time.
Yeah.
All of this is just, Rome wasn't built in a day. So, you just kind of, you have to keep at it, and then over time, the pieces will fall into place. A lot of the drill really is just sort of muscle memory. I like to say it's like learning to ride a bike.
Absolutely.
Once you've done it enough times to the point where you remember how, it's very hard to forget. And yeah, even now, I've been doing this for, 4 years, there are still things with my kit that could be improved.
Oh,
nothing is ever perfect. There's always something like, I could get a new neck stock, I could get an extra pair of socks, or a new pair of shoes, or something like that.
Do all those same things.
It's a constant work in progress.
Yeah.
And also, of course, anytime there's any sort of new documentation that comes up, things have to be changed anyway.
Things change, exactly.
So yeah, it really is just a matter of time.
And as well, just from what you said, it's like a bike. That's very true as well, because I've actually had moments before where I brought this thing into like a gun shop before, something like that, and if there's a lot of reenactors that frequent, like if it's a black powder gun shop, there's a lot of reenactors there, of course, they can usually identify you right away because, regular people, they'll walk in with the gun, just casual like, as people carry a gun. But the reenactor is going to be going in with, the period appropriate, like, oh, I have it at the advance when I go in. It's like, I'm not trying to be all sophisticated and, like that guy.
Yeah.
It's just this is the natural way to hold it. You get used to the military senses. It becomes second nature after a little while.
Yeah.
Otherwise, as far as advice and whatnot, stay hydrated, of course, is a very important thing.
Yes.
And if at any point you're feeling, that something is wrong, if you feel like there's a problem with the gun, or if you're feeling dehydrated, if you're feeling very tired, anything, don't be afraid to speak up. Your unit commanders, your NCOs, and your officers are there for a reason. Say, hey, can I fall out? I'm not feeling too well. Like, all right, that's usually fine, and they can have someone help you out. It's all about, safety, first off, is the most important thing above all else. Then it's about having fun and about, just making it a good experience for everyone involved. It is a hobby. It's not, it's not grueling labor.
Yeah. But it is a good point about the hydration. If at any point we're on the field and I tell you to take a drink, it's not a request. It's an order.
You may not, I'm not feeling very thirsty. I don't like the taste of water. No, it's...
Please drink water.
Yeah, the sergeant knows what he's talking about. If he tells you to take a drink, then take the drink.
Once again, that's going to about do it for us. Thank you for tuning in once again. God save the king, and Brandon will do his thing.
And of course, until the next time I shall remain your most humble and obedient of servants. God save the king.